Hello everyone, I hope we're all well. Sorry, I was just knocking my card deck. I thought I'd come on here, I'd start doing a little Monday card reading, like a little card oracle pull for whoever needs a little message. And that's what we're gonna do. So I'm using the Sacred Rebels Oracle deck, one of my favorites. Absolutely beautiful. Some really nice art. So if you're drawn to here, I'm sure there's probably a little message in here for you. I absolutely love tarot and oracle card decks because yes, we get our own gut intuitions and like hints, like, you know, we feel things and we know things, but we often doubt it. So a card is a perfect way to get the message straight to you, like, yeah, what you're thinking or feeling is right. So let's go. Oh geez, I don't often take ones that fly out unless I feel really drawn. How I do it, oh my gosh, this deck is super lively today. What I like to do is shuffle and then I pick the one which I feel most drawn to, and like that's how I do it. Everyone's like, there's specific ways you need to do it. That's complete load of shite. Sorry. That one feels right though. Yes, told you, trust yourself. So what I was just gonna say is, if you're feeling called to do something that maybe you might think people might judge you for, or you feel called to step outside the box, then you're being called to do it. We have a connection to nature. We have a connection to the natural world. We have an animalistic side. We have an intuitive and instinctive side that often gets forgotten about in this world. Of this modern world, we don't really align with that part of ourselves as much. You know, we're in cities, we're in rooms, we're not connecting to the inherent like natural cycles of life. But when we do, it helps us to listen to the calls from within. I absolutely love this card. The thing that popped out most to me is the monkey. Now we have a monkey mind, right? We have the mind, the ego mind that tells us when or when not to do things, and it's kind of chewing our ear going, maybe don't do that because this might happen. And it stops us from trusting ourselves and following our calls. In the world, we often, like, humans want to be accepted, right? We have grown and evolved to be, you know, it's a survival instinct. We're going to survive better if we're accepted by the community, right? Because, you know, back then when we needed to hunt for food, etc., we all relied on each other. Nowadays it's a bit different, but the need for acceptance is still the same. But it's a little bit more narcissistic, and I don't mean that word in a really, really negative way, because it is like, narcissistic is, it's a self-aligned, a heavily self-aligned desire in that sense. That's what I mean when I'm using that word narcissistic. It's very much like, okay, how is this making me look? Is this person going to accept me if I am myself? If I step out and I'm that colourful, weird person that I want to be, am I going to be accepted? We often stop ourselves from doing things with that fear. And I'll tell you right now, I have stopped myself from doing all this sort of work for years and years. I've always done it, and I've hidden it, and I didn't want to listen to that call. I was not aligning my life with the call from within, the childlike call from within, the thing that makes me feel alive, the thing that makes me feel creative, the thing that you know, calls to my primal self, like my gut. I completely ignored that, and life led me down paths that were not very beneficial for me, and it'll blow up in your face eventually when you don't listen to yourself. If you're not if you're not listening to yourself and trusting your calls and your little light bulb moments, and oh, I really like this, I'm drawn to this thing, why? That monkey mind comes in and goes, oh, don't do that, people are going to think you're weird, or you're going to fail. Fear of failure, for example. Like, if you don't try, then you're never going to know. But you're being called to have courage. Like, all these animals don't think, what's this parrot going to think of me if I go and do this? Like, or this, like, they just are, and they exist, and they follow their natural desires. They don't second guess. Their ego is smaller than ours. I don't even know, like, animals probably don't really have an ego, and the ego isn't bad. Everyone has an ego. It gets you up in the morning, and it's who we are, you know, it's part of us, it's a protective mechanism. However, we need to try and channel a little bit less of that and allow the wild self to come through, because you will be free. Like, it is so freeing when you're yourself. You align with the people that you're meant to align with. You align with experiences because you have courage, and you know, you like, right, okay, world, universe, divine energy, because I believe that everything is divinely guided. I'm ready. I have the courage to step into this thing. It then opens up even more, and it opens up even more. And it's funny because I almost did a reading with my animal deck, and anytime I pulled the cards out, it just didn't feel right. But this has just got all the animals, all the animals on it. It's like, well, that's why I didn't feel right, because you needed to use this one. But when you are yourself, you trust that call, and you keep going, your beauty shines through. With human beings, we, at the moment in the modern day society, we have too much focus on our outer look, how we look, what we look like, because of social media, because of mirrors, just this whole self-identity thing. But you can be the most beautifully perfect person in the world visually, but inside, if you're not cultivating that creative energy, and that you're not accepting that call and aligning with your soul self, and you're trusting that you, and that all the outside stuff doesn't matter, that's not going to shine through. And people aren't, because we actually, human beings, don't see, we see the outside, we see the shell, but we actually are more drawn and not, what's the word, we're more we are more we're more guided, we're more influenced by the energy of people and what they give off. And we always think like we need to have this costume. It's like, right, well, let me look like this, let me be like this to be accepted. But it just comes across wrong. Comes across a bit strange and a bit disingenuous, even though the person is not disingenuous, but they're not aligning with their inside. Now, how do we do that? We silence the outside, firstly, the whole monkey mind, the whole self-doubt that's trying to protect us. We go, thanks for that, but thanks for telling me that, but I'm not listening to you right now, take a seat. I ran out of storage, so I'm gonna have to merge these videos together. But yeah, I was asking, how do we get into that self, that soul self? Soul self. Meditating is one thing. Meditating helps us to, we don't need to silence the mind. The mind almost is never silent. Mine is very, very rarely silent. It's more about observing it and watching it come through, come along for the ride, and just jumping on the waves and going, okay, right, that's a feeling that came up. Why is that there? Don't even ask, just go, okay, right, not judging, let it pass. Let it pass, because it will pass eventually. And you might get anxious, you might get stressed with those things, but the wave will come and then it'll pass and it goes away. Because we are human beings, we have emotions, we have feelings, and you're not wrong for that. It's more accepting and aligning with what's going on inside and just going, okay, right, I see you, I see what's going on, rather than reacting. And we all struggle with that. I'm not perfect. I'm very much going through that cycle at the moment. How do I react? How can I stop with that survival instinct, reacting to things that trigger me? Because, you know, that is how we have grown up in life. We take all of our experiences, so our nervous system then goes, okay, right, that's a perceived danger that happened to me before, so therefore I'm always aware and paranoid it's going to happen again. It's just trying to protect you. So become its friend. There's a book, and it's I can't remember what it's called, but it's like treating your monkey mind as like your little chatterbox brain as your like roommate. Not you, but it's part of you. You know, it isn't you. It is trying to help you, you know, with perceived dangers. It's your nervous system. It's a fight or flight mode, blah, blah, blah. But befriend it. Be like, okay, right, I hear you, but right now, shh. Can't remember the book. I don't know if it's Untethered Soul. There's a book and it talks about how basically making that ego, that part of yourself, the protective mechanism, your roommate. And it was really interesting. I'll find the book and I'll share it eventually. But there's one method, because that helps you to be more of yourself. Another way is, what did you love to do as a child? What brought you the most joy? What did you want to be as a child? What do you remember? Like, tap into that. Be more in that energy. Another thing, spend more time on your own. It's hard. I used to hate spending time on my own. I now really like it. But it's because I forced myself to spend time on my own. And when you spend time on your own, sometimes you have to be uncomfortable. Sometimes you're going to feel really shit. Sometimes you're going to cry. Sometimes you're not going to feel comfortable. But to get to that point, you need to spend that time on your own. Because there's too much busyness out there. There's too many voices, too many things going on around there. Because you need to be able to feel what's going on. Another thing that's helped me is trying new things, even when you're scared. Saying yes to more things, even when you're scared. Putting yourself in situations like, right, I want to go do this class, or I want to go do, like, so I'll use a great example. This is how my whole Reiki journey started. My friend was like, oh, there's these sound healing sessions, do you want to go to one? I was like, sure. Went along. This beautiful space, and then I went to more meditations on my own after that, and yeah, it was really nerve-wracking, and I cried during it around strangers, but I met some of the best people ever through that. Ended up doing Reiki through that, meeting amazing people, and now I'm on this path and I'm meeting more people every day. And the more you put yourself in those situations to meet new people while being yourself, it is easier to be around new people and be your true self. Because if you're scared to be a certain way and you're worried people are going to leave you and not be your friend anymore, then that's fine. They're not meant to be in your life anyway, and it is what it is, and no harm to that. Like, that's absolutely fine. No judging anyone, you know. Like, relationships are not meant to be forever sometimes, and that is unfortunately as sad as it is, and I still mourn that all the time with friendships and other, like, even just like jobs and different seasons of my life. Like, we always mourn what we were and what we had, but as we move and change and grow, things just fall away naturally, and that's okay. So coming to acceptance with that is another big thing. Being comfortable with change. Things are always changing. It's part of life. So one constant is change. a tree, you know, has all its seasons. It lets go of its leaves, it grows again. It has its seasons, just like humans, just like nature, just like animals. A circle of life. And do I have any other things I want to say? You're like, be yourself. Be yourself, right? Say what you need to say. Because you're gonna find your people by doing that. And you're gonna find your thing. You're gonna go, thank God I finally did that thing I've always wanted to do. But just trust yourself more. Because I think in this society, we always look outside for like a saviour, and we're kind of always look outside for things to help us, but we actually can help ourselves, you know, and we can be our best friend, and we can take ourselves to new heights, to where we want to go. And it is absolutely beautiful, a beautiful journey when you start working on yourself and doing the things you love, and just not giving a fuck what people think anymore. Because you're going to waste your time in life. What does everyone else think of me? I'm very, very good at that. I'm always worried what people think. And it stopped me from doing things. It stopped me from having really amazing experiences. It stopped me going places, doing things. No. No one's really that fussed about what you're up to. They're not. They're not spending their days thinking about what you're up to. So just go and do that thing. Go be yourself. And don't worry. Just have a good time. Like, connect to that. Connect to that part of yourself. And you'll just, you'll be feeling so much less stressed, because there's not this expectation on your back all the time. Anyway, that was a really long video. It was meant to be short. I don't do short for readings, but I hope we all have a lovely day. And remember to trust yourself.